Alright, we're live.
This week's episode is brought to you by Too Cool for These Lame Dudes. Sponsored by Trap or Die Friday Sales. You better get it while the getting is good. Hey, what it do, man? It's your boy Chrome. I got my man Buffnick in the building, you know what I'm saying? AKA Matthew Goins, you know what I'm saying? It's my guy right here, you know what I'm saying? I'm always welcoming new co-hosts to come through, fuck with your boy, man. I'm glad to have him. This is another episode of Sports Talk Raw, where we smoke, we drink, we keep it real, and we tell y'all how we feel about these sports, you know what I'm saying? This is the All-Star Weekend Special Edition, where we're going over the All-Star Game. This is part 3 out of 3, so if you missed the first 2, go back and check them out. This is about the All-Star Game. The first one, bow. Okay, so back to the business, you feel me? We're going over this All-Star Game, you know what I'm saying? Might I add, it was a great game, you know what I'm saying? We just finished watching it, man. It was popping.
Very competitive.
Very competitive. I'm glad they stepped that defense up. The inning was awesome. But before we jump into the game, let's talk about it. It was for charity, right?
Absolutely.
You remember the charity names? I know I'm slipping right now.
I got you. So, Team LeBron played for the All-City All-Stars. That's a youth group that they played for. And then Steph's team played for the Inner City
Boys or something like that.
I did forget the name of that charity, so we'll make sure to get that right.
We'll make sure we get those right. I'll make sure I'll post some of those right for you. But before we get into the game, like I said, shout out to them charities. Team LeBron's they charity got, I believe, $350,000, and Steph Curry team got $150,000. But either way it goes, both teams won. So that's what it's really all about. You know what I'm saying?
Win-win for everybody.
Win-win for everybody. Absolutely. So, now let's go ahead and jump into this motherfucking game. So, It started off a little slow, you know what I mean?
As expected. I think everybody was kind of energetic. Everybody was hyped. It was ready to get into the swing of things.
Right.
So you can see, there was just a lot of energy going into everything that everybody was doing. Alley-oops was going into the third rafters and everything like that.
Niggas was blocking some shit too, man. I seen niggas sending some shit. So I'm glad to see it was a competitive game. It wasn't just niggas out there just throwing alleys and doing all that other shit. It was actually a really competitive game, and we ain't even got to the end yet. But the first half was still a good, entertaining game, you know what I'm saying? That bounce pass by LeBron,
to start things
that
off,
alley-oop, man, that was nasty, man.
Nasty. I'm talking about real time, going live, athletic, bounce pass from about 30, 40 feet into the end. Man put it in. Still looking at a win-win.
Did his thing, man. Speaking of which, LeBron James had 29 points.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? He had 10 rebounds and 8 assists. The man almost had a triple-double. Therefore, I ain't trying to skip to the end, but he got MVP, and I see why. So let's just go and skip to the fourth quarter. We ain't got to skip. We can bounce back and forth between here and there because Damian Lillard was getting off. Kyrie had some dope passes. Steph Curry was out there doing his thing. It was a very entertaining game. So third, fourth quarter, I could see these cats start stepping their game up, and it became a lot more serious, especially around that fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
So let's get to these last 2 minutes when this shit really got juicy.
Okay.
Tied up, 144 to 144.
144, tied up the game.
Tied up. Okay, so I can see these niggas is serious about this right here. And you know what? To my fans out there and everybody watching this who keep watching this, I'm sorry. I don't even mean to keep saying nigga, but this is Sports Talk Raw. So you get it raw. But I'm going to still cut back, you know what I'm saying, just because it's a simple fact. But check it, though. Back to these 2 minutes? Okay, both teams getting real competitive. And before it was even 144, it was 141, 144, and that man LeBron James came down. I seen LeBron James do a couple things this game like he was trying to be that guy.
He was playing
is that who he's going to try to turn himself into?
I think that's what he's always been, and we're now starting to see them put him in the face in the forefront of the NBA.
Well, fuck that. That nigga always want to pass the ball.
But when you talk about the greatness and you're looking at his points, he just surpassed, number 3 or number 4 and all-time points. So the man's kind of doing this thing, you know what I'm saying? An all-around team player. When you can pretty much be the whole centerfold of a whole team, and people want to build teams around you, you got a recipe for success.
You do have a recipe for success, man. Shout out to them new Cavs, man. The LeBron James out there setting examples, man. He had a dope team, man. Joel Embiid was out there wetting some threes, man. He was doing his thing, too. It was a very entertaining game. Let me go over a couple stats right now, man. Kevin Durant had 19. Anthony Davis had 12. Russell had 11. Kyrie had 13. Bradley Beal was out there he got hot for him, and he hit about
Yes,
two,
he
three
did.
threes in a row. He was
Yes,
about to
he
hit the
did.
third, but he got to cheat check himself. But he had 14. Andre Drummond was out there banging on niggas.
Drummond be ballin' though.
It's
It's nice to see your big man still get out there, do a body up thing, work from the inside out. And don't leave him out on the 3-point line, because he can soak you too.
Yeah, and he will. Okay, now Oladipo had 7. I was going to skip him, but I'll throw him out there. Paul George had 16.
Hey, speaking of Paul George,
Okay,
man,
go
I
ahead.
kind of felt like, and I've maybe been seeing this a lot more lately, I feel like Paul George is just simply doing too much. I feel like he's making the game too hard for himself. I see him wanting to try to do too many things and not sit around and like maybe play a role or simplify his game. At this point, I mean, I know he's been traded around, but you're not in Indiana anymore. I want to see Paul George simplify his game and make it a little more easier on himself on his as he's working towards maybe his 3rd or 4th session.
Well, look,
in
don't
the
go
NBA.
too hard on a nigga. I mean, I definitely understand that, and I feel what you're talking about. And I agree with it. But it's just an all-star game, so go easy on him. But he stepped it back up, and the dub is a dub. As long as his team got the motherfucking
But
dub.
they had the ball in his hands towards the end, and he had a chance to really do his thing.
Won't let it go.
I won't.
He's
He
on
had
your
a
head,
chance
Paul
to do his
George.
thing, Paul George, and you didn't close it out. You actually missed your shot, and you had LeBron come and bail you out. So, Paul George, much love to you. Simplify your game. Do your thing. Well, while we are on this part, and again, it is just an all-star weekend, so we're here to just watch the showcase of talent. We got fortunate this time to kind of see some defense. Was there anybody that you watched that maybe you wanted to see a little bit more of, or maybe
Like I
you
said
wanted
in
to
the
perform
last
to them?
episode, it was I wanted to see more of Dennis Smith Jr. go against Donovan Mitchell in a dunk contest. I mean, shout out to Larry Nance Jr. He did his thing,
Hey, man.
but I think that Dennis Smith Jr. would have definitely brought a little bit more excitement and more creative dunks. But you never know because he didn't make it there. He should have brought that shit the first time. So besides that, everything else was kosher. Shout out to them Kings, Bogdan Bogdanovic. He got the MVP in the world game.
Shout out to
what I'm
them
saying?
Kings.
Buddy Hield almost got that after that, but he lost in the skills competition. So you need to step your game up too, nigga. Just because I like you don't mean I'm finna go soft on you, nigga. So back to this All-Star game, though. Let's go to some of Team Stephen stats. You know what I'm saying? DeRozan had 21 points.
Ballin'.
On the Punaputo, hey, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. He had about 16 points. Embiid had 19 points.
Embiid.
Harden had 12 points.
That's my number one letdown. Harden, you did your thing. You played your
He
game
probably
like you
could have
always
been a game
do.
changer.
But
He
I
probably could
think
have been a game changer.
you would have been the difference maker.
Steph Curry had 11. He could have stepped it up a little bit more too, but Clay had 15. He was out there hot.
Typical
Clay
Clay.
did his thing.
Good.
Cat had 17 points, and Lillard had 21 points. He was out there wetting too. You know what I'm saying? He was out there wetting too. You feel me? So it was a dope ass All-Star game.
Absolutely.
I was hoping to see some overtime, but we didn't. But at the same time, I'm still satisfied from what we seen. You know what I mean? So shout out to LeBron for the MVP, and shout out to LeBron for getting that money for this charity and for the W.
You bet.
And he put in a dope game. He took the game and he did what
Taking
he
it
was
to the
supposed
next
to do.
level.
From
You're
the
taking the All-Star game
first
to
quarter
another level.
to the last quarter.
You bet.
Shout out to LeBron. You know what I'm saying?
This is the first time where we've seen defense win an NBA All-Star game. So that's just to put things in perspective.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that too. That was definitely the first time we see defense win it. That means it was a very entertaining game. So you know what I mean? That's basically it, man. We ain't gonna hold y'all too long, man. But that was an All-Star game. That was an All-Star weekend. It was popping. It was dope. If you didn't see it, check out the reviews. Check out the reactions. Check out the highlights. Check out all that shit. It was popping. You know what I'm saying? Can't wait till the next year's one. You know what I'm saying? But in the meanwhile, it's your boy Chrome. This is my man Buffneck. You know what I'm saying? In the motherfucking building. This is Sports Talk Raw, where we smoke, we drink, we keep it real. We tell you how we feel about these sports, you know what I mean? Especially on All-Star Weekend. Next special coming up will be like the Mountain West Tournament or March Madness, something like that. So make sure you stay tuned. But we'll have episodes in between that, but that's a special episode. Hey, where that sign at, man? Where that sign at? This week's episode is brought to you by Too Cool for These Lame Dudes. And it's always and forevermore sponsored by Trap or Die Friday Sales. You better get it while the getting is good, nigga. Get it. Don't be too short with the paper. Be too short, nigga, with the bitches. Hey, till then, holla at your boy. Fin. I ain't even gotta say the name.
check it. No need for introduction, slow it down, it sounds seductive. Hold up, no interruptions, I'm just trying to stay productive. So peep out each production. Lights, camera, action, cut it, print it, that's how we rap it. Thankful we made it through fatal attractions, but it always seems to pass us. Call it that circle of life, I done dealt with double the pain. Just say it circled me twice, to be precise, I'm built for it, so watch me handle it. Like Allen Iverson, don't try me, I'm the man.